factoring again. Oh yeah, I'm Ms. Matsuoka. We're learning about factoring again. We're going to do harder factoring with the x. So yeah, let's use that x again. So if you recall, we're using the x. The 7 does go in the bottom, but on the top, you're actually going to multiply these two together. Okay, so we're multiplying the 3 and the 2 together to get 6. Again, we're still doing the same type of thing here, where we're going to get the numbers to multiply the 6 and add to get the 7. So again, it's just going to be 6 and 1. So again, that's because 6 times 1 equals 6, and 6 plus 1 equals 7. Now there's a bunch of different ways you can go from here. So I'm going to show you 3 different methods on how to actually do this problem. So here's the first method. It's called factoring by grouping. Okay, so this is grouping, and it's called grouping because you group them together. So we're basically going to rewrite this, but instead of the 7x, we can write it as 6x plus 1x. So it's going to be 3x squared plus 6x plus x plus 2. So again, this right here is coming from these two on the sides. So we're going to group them together. We're going to group the first two together with parentheses and group the last two together with the parentheses. So we look at these two and we're going to factor out what they have in common. So this is like factoring by the common factor. These two have a 3x in common. So we're going to take that out. It's going to be 3x. Just like I showed you before, it's 3x squared over 3x, and then plus 6x over 3x. On this one, they don't have anything in common, so we're just going to put 1. So we're going to put plus 1x plus 2. Now some of you might be wondering, why are we putting a 1? It doesn't make a difference. But actually it will make a difference, and you'll see why. So we're going to simplify these and these before we move on. So we get 3x here still, and then we're doing 3 divided by 3, which gives me 1. Again, I'm subtracting those exponents, so I just get x in total. 6x divided by 3x gives me 2, so that's still a plus 2. And I still have this part that I didn't really need to do anything to. Now if you notice, these two are exactly the same, which is what we want. So that's going to be one of our factors. And now, if I completely take these away, what's left is 3x plus 1, and that's our other factor. So that's how you do it. So just a quick thing about this. Yeah, this is one method. It's factoring by grouping. You can use it anytime, even if you don't have a number out in front. So let me reiterate. The reason this is a harder problem to do is because we have this number out in front. I don't know that I explained that before, but we have this number out in front, and that's what makes it a harder problem. So grouping is the first method that I showed you. Here's another method. It's called the box. So some of you may use the box for multiplying out, and I'm going to show you how we can use that here. So we're going to write, it's kind of the same thing as factoring by grouping. So we still have the x, we still have all of this stuff here, and now we're going to put it in the box. So here's my box. And again, I have the 4 different sections here. I write that 3x squared first, and I'm going to write the 6x, the x, and the 2. So once again, I have basically the same thing that I have over here, except now it's in a box. It's a little bit more organized, especially for those of you who are very visual people. So here I'm looking to see what do these have in common. So these have a 3x in common. So I'm taking out the 3x. The cool thing about this method is I don't need to divide or simplify. So 3x comes out here. These two don't really have anything in common, so it's just a 1. So it's just going to be a positive 1. Over here, these two have an x in common, nothing else, just an x. So that comes out. And then these two, we're looking, what do they have in common? That's a positive 2. So once again, I figured out what these two have in common. That one right here. These two have in common. That one right here. Those two, that goes right here. And these two, and that number one right there. So it's all in a line. So we have this x plus 2, that's up here, times this 3x plus 1. Oh, sorry, 3x plus 1. All right, so that's another way to do the problem. So here is the last way to do the problem. So the last way to do the problem is we've just finished our x, right? Sorry, we've just finished our x right here. We got 6 and we got 1. So we're going to actually write it kind of like how we wrote it before. It's going to be x plus 6 times x plus 1. But notice how we had that 3 in front, right? So the 3 was the problem. So we're going to do something with the 3. So we're going to divide both of these numbers by that 3. Because after all, to get that 6, we had to multiply by the 3. So now we're going to divide that 3. So this we're going to simplify. So 6 divided by 3 gives me 2. So in total I have a 2 here. Here, this is a fraction, and we really don't like working with fractions. So because we don't like working with fractions, we're basically just multiplying this section by 3. If that confuses you, and you really don't like multiplying with a fraction and stuff, just think of it as moving this 3 up here. So it's just going to be 3x plus 1. And that's it. So here I've shown you 3 different methods. Grouping, I've shown you this one. Oh yeah, sorry, I should have labeled this. This is the box. And this one is, I'm going to call it dividing. So take your pick on whichever one you like the best, and whichever one you like the best is the one that you should use.